Right, where do I start? Um, couldn't do any films about the leeches last week because it all got very silly and I just couldn't film. It was a two-handed job. Basically, I got loads of babies hatch out. So now rather than leeches, I've got a leech called licorice. Yeah, it got really silly. I mean, I cleared out a load of babies and then loads more hatched, and they were all coming off that rock, basically. So I'm down to one. If you ever think of having a pet leech or pet leeches, these are blood sucking type, my advice would be to have one, unless you want loads of them. Because things just went silly. They were all hatching off that rock. Loads of them. I cleared them out, and then there was another lot there. So unfortunately, all the other leeches have gone to leechy heaven. Now originally I did buy these as food for the piranha, but they didn't go down very well. Also, I didn't really realise that how not dangerous these are, but they're just such survival specialists. They can do everything. They can walk, they can swim. I mean, the list goes on. Um, Reggie got one in his mouth at one point, but he didn't think much of it. It's not even leathery skin; it's more like bleeding plastic. So we're down to one called licorice. Let's get him out for a little walk, as if it's possible. They're so difficult to handle and film at the same time. It's crazy. Come here. Where'd you go? Here he is. Oh, here he is. Licorice, we're calling him. So I've got one, much easier to handle, to deal with as well. Let him have his weekly walk. He can't decide where to go. He's got so many places to go to. They're pretty quick, you know. Shooting along. Now, like I said before, I can't feed him on me because I'm on medication. But my daughter is coming up soon, and she's slightly crazy. So she said, I don't mind if you put one on me. So Lucius is going to have his yearly feed on my daughter, I think. She's not on any medication or anything. Crazy creatures. I'm trying to pick up the colouring because you don't really see it on. You have to get in a certain light to see the colouring because they're dark on the video, but in real life they've got a bit of colour to them. It's hard to pick it up. So I've got him out for his weekly walk. Just got to watch it, don't dry up too much. I'll get him back in again. Yeah, so things got really silly. Babies galore, man. Loads. And like I said, they're all coming off that rock. No wonder they went crazy for that rock when I first put it in. I mean, I set up the area so they couldn't have babies because I read that they needed dry areas out of water to lay the eggs on. So I thought if I raise it up and don't have any dry areas, I'll be right. They won't have any babies. But they still did. They had loads off the rock underwater. So if you're thinking of having the pet leech or leeches, I'd say go for one because they mate like jiggery pokery. Let's get him back in. If I can. Here we go. Oh. back in the water before you dry out. So I've got one now called Licorice. In a few days' time, he's going to get his yearly feed. Oh.